Hi, my name is Sherry Raymond. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a career development coordinator in the Academic and Career Advising Center located in the Collins Classroom Center. Quick note, closed caption is available by clicking on the CC button in the menu down below. Thanks so much for being here today. We are going to talk about resumes, getting started, the ins and outs, how to start one, what information to include, and a little bit of what not to do. So let's get started. What is a resume? A resume is a living document that grows with you, capturing your current and past experiences, and it does require some self-reflection. It is a marketing tool to talk about your relevant skills, knowledge, and qualities as it relates to the job. First impression with a potential employer as well. A resume is a space to talk about you, so you want to make sure you show who you are through your document. Be authentic, be yourself. And lastly, as previously mentioned, this is a document that grows with you, which means it's going to require regular updating throughout life. I always say a resume is never actually done. Where to begin? You want to review resources. Get a sense of what format or layout you prefer. We have over 30 sample resumes on our webpage. You can also Google examples as well. There are also many templates or template builders out there. However, templates tend to be difficult to edit. You can't move sections around. I recommend getting started with a Word document. There's lots of formatting available that you can do in a Word document to fancy it up, and it's also easy to edit. Then you want to look at job postings. Begin as early as freshman, sophomore year to begin getting familiar with what employers are looking for. Look up that dream job. The sooner you become aware of what employers are looking for and requiring, the sooner you can begin to prepare. And then read through those qualifications and position descriptions, and then reflect on which qualifications you possess. What areas might you need to grow in or learn more about? Do you need more of those soft skills, communication, writing, leadership, or do you need more in hard skills? Do you need to build up your skills with Microsoft Office Suite or other specific software, or build in language skills? Write these items down or type them out, but keep a record in reflection as this becomes part of developing your resume. Can also be a guide for when you might need some professional development. Also keep note of those accomplishments and awards because you want those on that document as well. Also, a little bit of a note on something called imposter syndrome. Sometimes in the job search process, we can feel discouraged or feel like we don't have all the things that the job description is listing. We can feel like we aren't going to belong in that potential job or feel self-doubt, like we don't know anything or have all the experience. This is part of what is called imposter syndrome, and it can occur anytime throughout the job search process or anytime in one's career for that matter. So this is an opportunity to learn and practice positive self-talk, lean into what you know, focus on all that has been accomplished to bring you to today, reflect on all that you are continuing to work towards. This is the time to be kind to yourself and build yourself up. Also, ask those friends, family, coworkers, faculty, what strengths they see in you. That can help you get started with that list. If this is something you are really struggling with, please talk with a professional. There are resources available. So let's talk about formatting. Before we move forward, it is important to note that your resume will always be in development, and you'll want to keep a main copy or what's called a lifelong resume that includes your entire work history. And then you'll create an active or target resume that you'll be using to apply and update for each position. Some basic formatting things to keep in mind is length. Often 1 to 2 pages is perfectly acceptable. Sometimes an employer may specify in the directions in the application that you may only submit a 1-page document in which you might want to do some editing to get it down to that 1 page. Otherwise, 1 to 2 pages is acceptable. You want to keep in mind font size. You want it to be legible, so font size of 10 to 12. You also want to utilize space on the page and keep it balanced, so not overcrowded and overly busy, but also not really large blank spaces. Use underline or bold or increase font sizes in some sections. This draws the eye to the information more quickly. The example shown here is from our webpage. Notice it has defined sections. The page is balanced with items on the right and left hand sides. It's organized, easy to read. This is what you're going for. Now we'll go through the different sections that can be on the resume. So items that are asterisks here, contact information, education, experience, or employment, those are must-have items on the document. Skills, strengths, activities, or extracurriculars, these are ideas of other sections that you can include. You'll also want to include references. Contact information. With your contact information, you'll want that to be at the top of the page. It often is entered as a header. It can be in the center or left side. You can include pronouns. You can list your preferred name, as the resume is not a legal document. However, you will need to use the legal name for various parts of the application or hiring process. You want to include a contact number, a working email that you check regularly. If you have a LinkedIn URL, you can certainly add that. Listing city and state is optional, but it can be included. No longer a physical address is no longer required. Education section. Here you want to be sure to include the institution, major, minor, any certificates you have. This is where you want to utilize some of that bolding or underlining. Here we've underlined and bolded the section. And then we're bolding the name of the degree, Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science, and then bolding those majors. This is helping an employer readily see where you have your knowledge and experience. Oftentimes students are asking about GPA. GPA is helpful to add if you are applying for an internship or grad school and there's a specific GPA requirement. Otherwise, it's optional. Another question is, what about schools that you attended but you didn't earn a degree? If you did not earn a degree from the institution, then it does not need to be listed. Experience in employment. You have options here. In selecting to have a section that's employment or work experience, there would be all paid employment that you've had that's relevant to the job you're applying for. You can, however, do an experience section. This allows you to include all experiences that are relevant to the position. So that could be paid work, unpaid work, military experience, volunteer work, job shadows, observation hours, internships, clinicals. It can be very broad and inclusive. Once you decide in the section in the title, then you'll need to list out each experience. So you'll want to list the name of the position that you held, the employer or organization, the city and state, and the time frames. So the dates will be listed there. If it's present or current, you would list that. You do want to make sure you're listing all the experiences in reverse chronological order. So the most present first, and then work your way back from there. Relevance matters when choosing which experiences to include. As mentioned, you want to list the ones that are most relevant to the position you're applying for. You also, when you're starting to build some bullet points, you want to do bullet points or some small phrases to describe what you've done. You want to have more than just a list of job duties. So we want to think about keywords that are in the job posting. Resumes are typically submitted online or are scanned through an applicant tracking system. This is a system that looks for keywords and matches it to the posted job description. The more keywords your document has, the more likely you are to be put through to the next round. The next round means an actual person looking at it. You want to utilize action verbs and then put together those bullet points. So some tips here are qualify and quantify. So quantify using numbers. Qualify creates a lens by which the employer interprets your experience. Using action verbs, it helps to explain tasks or accomplishments. Think about explaining the what and the how of 10 things that you did. Bullet point formula is a project or task plus an action and the result. So someone might say in their job, well, I talked to people. Well, the action was you communicated with coworkers to answer questions regarding safety protocols. If we put it together with a result, you communicated with coworkers to ensure a safe working environment by updating safety manuals and organizing annual trainings. If you wanted to add a number to that, you might say communicate with coworkers to ensure safe working environment by updating safety manuals and organizing 10 annual trainings, or 10 trainings per year, whatever might be in there, or how many coworkers you were working with. Sometimes, other items to think about when we're qualifying, quantify specific age groups of children you might have worked for, or any age group, any demographic can also help paint a little bit more picture of where your experiences are. Here is a listing of the action verbs. These are listed on our webpage. List of words can be helpful or a thesaurus. You want to make sure you're changing up the verbiage you're using. You don't want to be using demonstrated over and over and over through each bullet point. List of words with a thesaurus can help you with that. Skills, knowledge, or strengths section. This is just an example of a section you can include. In these sections, you can include courses that are in progress, but you want to list the course names and not the course number. Course numbers alone won't mean much to those that are outside UWSP. You can include certifications or licensures, methodologies or techniques of things that you're doing. Again, think about what's relevant to the job you're applying for, software programs, instruments, equipment, languages. This is a bit of a combination of all of the above. It's got some course names in here, we've got some foreign language, we've got a certification, and some programming. Great section and great example. There are other ways to do this, and those are included in those sample resumes that are on our webpage. Keep things relevant. Again, use those keywords. Avoid just listing words. And again, if you're struggling to remember what some of those strengths are, ask coworkers, friends, family, faculty. They can help you with some ideas. Reference section. Reference sections should be about 3 to 4 people. You want to make sure you ask for permission. These can be supervisors, faculty, colleagues, folks that can speak to your professional abilities. Try to stay away from families and friends. I would actually say stay away from families and friends. They tend to be a bit biased. You want to list someone that you've known at least a semester, someone that that is from your past. Sometimes folks will say, well, somebody from high school, I volunteered in their classroom a lot. Well, by the time you're graduating, that was about 4 years ago. They may not be able to speak to your growth and development that you've had in that time. So someone that's current, you want to make sure you get permission to list them. Include their contact information, the company they work for, their title, their email, their phone number, and also keep your references updated in jobs that you're applying for. Give them an updated copy of your resume so that that way they can speak to the growth that you've had and speak to your strengths too. A few other things to keep in mind. I already spoke about templates, but there is one exception, and it has to do with applying to federal jobs. Federal jobs would be done through USA Jobs. If you're interested in applying to a federal job, I do recommend meeting with a career development coordinator to talk through the requirements. The federal government has very specific instructions and guidelines for applying to jobs, so it's a matter of following those directions. In this instance, we do recommend using the USA Jobs Resume Builder. There's also webinars on their website that can guide you. Some folks like to include a personal statement or an objective. These are optional sections based on personal preference. A few factors to consider if you're going to use this is think about what is the intention of including that personal statement or objective. Is it a better fit for the cover letter? And also, do you have the room for it on the page? High school experience. High school experience can be included while you are still in college. However, once you're completing your degree, you can go ahead and take that high school experience off. You want to be able to make sure you're saving your resume in multiple places and that you know where to find it. So your laptop, the cloud, oftentimes also a flash drive. You also want to make sure you're saving it as a PDF. Most applications and resumes are going to be submitted online, and that would require saving it as PDF. The PDF also locks in all the formatting. I have been asked about pictures or graphics and should those be on a resume. Typically this depends on the industry. So for example, those in the art or design world, it can make sense for there to be graphics, or those that are in theater or drama, it makes sense. Oftentimes there is a headshot involved with the resume. But again, it's industry specific. We already talked about making sure you're using space on the page, but keep your document honest. Don't try to embellish, don't plagiarize, don't add things that aren't true to you. Keep it concise and honest. Also, be sure to consider adding other experiences such as your military background, college athletics, study abroad, research projects. A few other things to consider. Some statements that could open the door to microaggressions. Date of birth doesn't belong in the resume. That might go without saying, but I have seen that happen. Also, the dates of graduation, maybe 15 to 20 years from now, you want to take those dates off. Many folks are often involved with various groups, sometimes religious groups or organizations. Just be aware that this may or may not cause a microaggression in review of your document. If you're listing of it, think of what purpose it's serving. Does it fit well within the role that you are applying for? Also, are you okay with the information having a potential negative impact? Anything that's listed on your resume, you want to be sure that you're prepared if you're interviewed to speak to that information. So if you're listing it, think about, is this something I want to talk about in an interview? Organizations or experiences that may out you, are you okay with how that may or may not impact folks reading your document? On the other hand, listing various forms of involvement can demonstrate your commitment to equity and diversity, which may positively resonate with an employer. Ultimately, Be yourself and seek out companies and jobs that align with your values so that you can be you. A bit about cover letters. No one is ever super excited to do a cover letter. However, they are often a required part of the job application process. It helps to think of the cover letter as a chance to tell a brief story about your journey in 3 easy paragraphs. We do have a sample that is linked on our ACAC webpage. I will show you that in just a minute on the next slide. So the first paragraph is your introduction. Express your excitement, include the name of the position that you're applying for. Perhaps you speak to how you heard about the position. Include why you want to work for the company and why you are interested. The second paragraph, the body of the paragraph. This tells your story by highlighting 2 to 3 ways you meet key job requirements. This can be through multiple experiences, and you want to speak to their point of view. The third and closing paragraph, summarize your interest, that you look forward to talking with them soon, and then your signature. Note that this is a professional letter and there are formatting items to include, such as the date at the top and at the top of the page and the company name or address. Here is an example of the format for the letter. Again, this is on our website, but I'm a visual person, so having that visual I think is helpful. Last couple notes, if you haven't activated your Handshake account yet, please do so. You'll also want to make sure that you turn your Handshake on, turn the community option on. That allows for better visibility of your account by potential employers and peers. Once your resume is ready to go, you can upload it. You can also utilize, these are information that's on our webpage. You can also, if you're more visual like myself, there are some videos. Candid Career has videos that are listed here that have to do with resume building. I thank you so much for your time and attention today. If you have questions, please feel free to contact our office. You can schedule time with an academic advisor or your career development advisor for further information. You're also welcome to visit us at one of our career chats. The event list is on the webpage. Thanks so much. Have a great day.